Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Top 5 Niches of the Week, episode 83. I've got 5 new print-on-demand niches for you to sell in to hopefully increase your sales. By the way, I hope that your sales have increased lately. This is that time of year where a lot of people are looking for gifts. It is gift-giving season, and hey, people love buying t-shirts. We all wear t-shirts, right? So it's kind of a low-hanging fruit gift idea. And what do? They go to the most popular e-commerce website in the world, Amazon. They look for that Amazon Prime badge since so many people have Prime in the United States and internationally, and they find our t-shirts that we're selling and they gift them to their friends and family, right? So we know the formula. Let's go sell some shirts that people want to buy. And that's what I'm going to show you in this episode. Let's get started. First thing I wanted to share with you guys is that when you look at an Amazon merch standard t-shirt as of right now, as of recording this on Sunday, you see that it is still arriving before Christmas. As long as you see that green text that says arrives before Christmas, we should see really high sales. And even when that turns to red and says arrives after Christmas, typically in my experience, we still see above average sales. It's a lot of people that waited too long to get their gifts and they got their fingers crossed that maybe they get lucky. And if they don't, they'll probably return it. And that typically is why you see a lot of returns in January. But anyways, guys, this is good news. And I hope that Amazon stays on top of manufacturing and shipping these out, and that our awesome delivery drivers, our Amazon workers and delivery drivers, thank you so much, because you guys really make all this possible. So without you, there's no me, right? There's no us. All right. And we have 2 winners to announce really quickly. Congrats to the 2 randomly selected winners for last week's giveaway. I will be reaching out to you with your prizes. Congratulations. And of course, we have a new giveaway starting right now. Free to enter. Link at the top of the description. Takes like 10 seconds to enter. Good luck to everybody that does. Also in the description, I've got a free 8-day print-on-demand mini course and an awesome print-on-demand Facebook group if you guys would like to join. I'd love to have you. All right, niche number 1, guys, and I'm not going to do a video like last week, but if you guys missed last week's top 5 niches of the week, I will link to it right here. Check it out as well, because I think it was a really good episode when there isn't clear-cut niches and you need to kind of navigate what's selling. Well, that's what we kind of did with the theme of last week's video, so I would recommend checking it out. Niche number 1 this week, though, we actually had kind of a clear-cut niche. There's this shirt over there on the left. It is Amazon's choice, and it is a 4,700 BSR shirt, which is a very low BSR. And this one says, check out my 6-pack, and it's got dice. So they're selling to fans of board games. But I also noticed that just in general, the check out my 6-pack, the donut shirts, and the other one over there, it looks like it's for pilots. But it looked like there was a lot of different ways to put a spin on check out my 6-pack. So in general, this niche as a whole, it seems like a lot of people are going to Amazon. Well, really quick, I don't want to talk too long about this niche, but just a quick lesson in how this may work, right? There is check out my 6-pack, and that is like the words they search, but then it's people looking for games, right? We'll call the first shirt games. Then there's check out my 6-pack, and people are laughing at the donut one, and they're buying that, and that's a separate group of people. And then there's check out my 6-pack, and it's for airplane pilots, a separate group of people. Now, all of these shirts can be indexed on check out my 6-pack search term, but they can also be indexed on other keywords, right? Like gift for gaming lover, whatever that dice is, weird looking dice. Gift for donut lover, funny donut shirt, right? Funny gift for pilot, Christmas gift for pilot. There's lots of different keywords that can be sending traffic that converts to these listings. What I did was I searched for check out my 6-pack because I saw that first shirt, and that's not normally one of the best sellers. And I was like, whoa, where did this come from with the 4,700 BSR mixed in with all the normal best sellers, right? So I wanted to put that out there. As usual, of course, validate your niches. I always link to my video called Is This Niche Safe? You guys should check that out before you upload anything, if you've never seen the video at least, to get a feel for what I would consider to be a safe upload process, because even if you do everything right, the algorithm may still reject your listing. So there's doing everything right but not validating. I would say validate everything, right? And it's also not a sure thing, but it's the best I can do. And I put that out there to keep everybody's account safe. So this shirt right here, check that out. I put little arrows because this had a BSR not that long ago. Oh, that was long ago, actually. It says July 18. Why did it show July 18 and then jump all the way to December? I wonder if this shirt was removed or something, because you typically don't see a chart go from July 18 straight to December, right? So that's odd. But anyways, you can see that there's a huge spike in BSR from roughly 90,000 up to under 5,000. So that's a huge, huge jump. And I'm guessing that a lot of people really like this design. By the way, check out the design. That gradient with the purple to light blue looks really cool. The way that they applied it to the graphic elements on the shirt. The font family, I'm not a huge fan of that font, but hey, sales speak for themselves. All right, niche number 2. And this one, again, I have no clue what the heck this is, but I would assume there is a reason why everybody is designing this shirt basically the exact same way. It says, I survived my trip to NYC. It's a white shirt, it's got black text, and it's got a very similar looking taxi cab on it. Again, I have no context for why this is selling well, but check it out, guys. There's no reviews on 3 of the 4 shirts, and on the one that has reviews, there's only 3 reviews. All right, BSRs, 40,000, 300,000, 280,000, 240,000. And by the way, like all of page 1 was full of similar shirts that had sales. So this is one of those opportunities that comes out of nowhere. Or, by the way, I have no context for this, so do your own research. I don't know what this is from, but there's a bunch of submissions, which would indicate it's probably safe and soaking up quite a few sales. This one right here that put it on my radar, 10,300 BSR. And it doesn't look like it was, actually, no, it was published in 2019. That's interesting. So I don't get it. I'm not in on this joke or whatever it is. Published in 2019 though, and definitely looked like there's this niche, if you want to call it that, is soaking up quite a few sales. Now, again, when you see all these designs on the same color shirt with the same similar design, it typically to me is not indicative of a high level niche with sub niches. This is probably the niche, right? Like when Let's Go Brandon was selling, it wasn't like, oh, people are selling Let's Go shirts and then putting a random name. No. The niche was Let's Go Brandon. It wasn't anything but that, right? I'm thinking that this is a niche like that where we don't need to look too far into it. This is probably the niche, okay? All right, niche number 3. And this is I'll be in my office gardening shirts. Now, lots of different designs, but all catering to the same crowd. Gardening, cute, I'll be in my office shirt, funny gardener shirt, women, I'll be in my office. I'm just reading the titles. Funny, I'll be in my office, distressed gardening shirt, etc. So you get the primary keywords, basically. It's pretty obvious. BSRs, 250,000, 140,000, 16,000 BSR. If you're that person selling that 16,000 BSR shirt, you are caking. You're making probably $100+ a day. Actually, at this time of year, probably for sure, off of just that one shirt. So if you have a bunch of these shirts, yeah, you're killing it. And then the one behind me here, the 4th one, 120,000 BSR. By the way, relatively new submission behind me. It only has 5 reviews, and they're charging $19.99, and they have 120,000 BSR. I mean, that's what it's all about right there. The best-selling one right here that popped up on my radar from Flying Research, 16,000 BSR. All right, niche number 4. And this is, again, this is fitting into that. By the way, guys, isn't it weird that it's like Christmas and like holiday season, and yet none of the shirts that we looked at today are themed Christmas? Because I think so many people that are sellers just think, oh, Christmas is coming, gotta sell Christmas shirts. And it's like, just ask yourself, like, are you the type of person that buys a lot of Christmas themed shirts? Not that they don't sell, we know they sell, but like, what about everything else? Like literally everything sees a bump around Christmas, but a lot of people are buying these as gifts. And what do you buy gifts for? The recipient's hobbies and interests. So craft beer, for instance. And like, this is one of these niches where there is big sub niche potential. But I noticed here that like, I don't typically see a craft beer shirt like in the best sellers. And that's why this popped up on my radar. When I went and did some additional research, it did look like as a whole, this niche is soaking up a lot of sales. The best seller there, 17,000 BSR. Next to it, 93,000. Third one, 161,000 BSR. And fourth, 255,000 BSR. You can see there's sub-niche potential. One shirt says, I'm crafty. The other one says, I like to do crafts. What's your hobby? And of course, they all have pictures of beer on them. The other two say, I do crafts. Implying it's like arts and crafts, but then of course you see the craft beers. All right, and the best-selling one that popped up on my radar here, 25,000 BSR. All right, niche number 5. And for this one, guys, I didn't see any one niche that really stuck out above the rest. I mean, there's the standard bestsellers that we kind of talked about last week that are pretty well diversified, even though you do see some themes. So again, check out last week's top 5 niches of the week. A lot of it remains unchanged week over week. So, that was a good way of kind of saying like, oh, let's analyze the top 25 shirts and see what themes and trends we see. For niche number 5 this week, I just want to kind of reiterate for probably the 3rd or 4th week in a row that right now, interests and hobbies are selling really well. Now, those are just words. I want to take it a step further and provide some value to you. So let's say that the niche or hobby, well, really what I'm showing here is like 5 ways of tackling niche and hobby type shirts. So these are just 5 ideas. There's plenty more than 5, but here are 5 that you see done all the time. The first one, all the way to the left, you can see it's an American flag, And in this case, the niche or the hobby or the interest, right? The thing that the person on the receiving end of this gift is most likely into is drinking beer. So what did they do? They had the American flag and they mixed in beer. And you can go through the best sellers right now and you're going to see a ton of American flag designs with different interests mixed into the design. Oftentimes you just kind of remove one or two of the stripes and you can either put the word or some graphics. That's one way of doing it. The next one over there, it's clearly an interest related shirt. You've got the heartbeat, and then in one of the heartbeats, the pulses, you've got an airplane. Now, I'm sure you guys, if you've done any niche research ever, you've seen designs that are similar to that, except for maybe it's got a basketball, maybe it's a soccer ball, maybe it's a football, whatever it is, right? Those sell all the time. All right, the third example I wanted to show you, and this is like my favorite approach personally, not because I'm not saying it's the best approach, I'm just saying it works for me, and I make sales doing it. So I just put a sunset graphic, I put either a graphic over the sunset or I put text, and then I put text with the above the sunset or below the sunset or both. And I was just looking at Instagram this morning while I was working out, and I saw Detour Shirts. If you guys caught our live stream this week, he had put like a tutorial on Instagram, like you could just swipe and see how he did it. And he made some like killer looking design without even really designing. He just found a sunset graphic, put some text with it, and it looked amazing. And it's like, yeah, guys, that works. And it works for interests and hobbies too. By the way, if you don't know how to get the All Sunsets or the Sunset graphics, check out All Sunsets. They're a sponsor for all of the giveaways, and I'll put a link in the description. Very affordable. It's like $3 a month for a subscription. The fourth example here, Gamer Elf, right? We've seen the elf designs. You just swap the word in and out, right? So you get one good elf design, which by the way, you can get that on Vexels, for instance. If you just need a place to go for an elf design. I know I saw that there the other day while I was looking at their graphics. I'll put a link to Vexels as well. And yeah, and you just swap in and out the text, right? Or design your own, of course. You don't have to use prepaid or pre-made designs. I'm not a good designer, so that's what I do. And behind me, one last idea. Eat, sleep, interest, repeat, right? Eat, sleep, interest, repeat. What's the interest in this example? Soccer, right? So these are just 5 ways of tackling interests and hobbies. And instead of like making, 20 Christmas themed designs that are like random and generic and in super saturated areas that get sales, but they don't get that many sales a lot of the times, go after an interest. These are all probably evergreen too, minus the elf shirt, right? The rest of these will sell year round. So they'll see a big bump in Christmas time, but then they'll make you sales year round. Like this is what it's about, guys. And here's just an example from Flying Research, American flag design, as you can see there, and they put hockey in there, right? Super easy to execute these designs, guys. You can go to Photopea, Photoshop. You can rotate the text with the click of one button, change the color of the text if you want to, make some sales. All right, seller trends. Here are some best-selling or significant jump in BSR shirts recently. So this is from Flying Research. These may be indicative of a coming trend. It may not be. You can see I Survived My Trip to NYC jumped in there. Looking ahead, if you want to sell shirts related to seemingly random holidays, January 12th, this is about a month out. January 12th, National Pharmacist Day. January 13th, International Skeptics Day. January 14th, Dress Up Your Pet Day. January 15th, National Bagel Day, and I love me some bagels. January 16th, National Nothing Day. All right, so there's 5 ideas coming up about a month out for random holidays. When I do those types of designs, guys, I typically like to post them to Seller Central, because if it's related to like one day a year, you don't want them like not selling and then just falling off of Merch by Amazon's catalog. If you put them in Seller Central, hey, they're there every year. So you get repeat sales, all right? Bonus design. This is just a design that I liked while I was doing my niche research. Check this out. So it's the, what is that? Like the Da Vinci, like circle square with the man inside of it. Kind of reminds me of Westworld if you guys ever saw that show, even though I know Da Vinci was the original. But anyways, it's like got his arm kind of rotating and he's hitting the electric guitar. So I don't know. I thought that design was awesome. And you can see 620 reviews, by the way. So yeah, this design is awesome. They're crushing it. Deleted designs brought to you by Merch Ninja. If you guys want to take a peek and see if you notice any theme here amongst the removed designs. I know I see a NHL design there removed from the new Kraken team. Also, just a reminder, don't sell shirts that infringe on like NFL teams. Somehow this got through. It's like a Steelers design. Anybody who's international may not know that like the Steelers are an NFL team, and you may be like, oh, this shirt got in and it's selling. I don't know how this is still on there with 229 reviews. That's actually pretty crazy that they have 229 reviews and hasn't gotten pulled. But yeah, I would never sell this. All right, guys. And as we wrap the video up, just a reminder, take advantage of the free weekly print-on-demand giveaway to win my print-on-demand mega pack. This week, you will have a chance to win a subscription to Flying Research, print-on-demand research tools, Automate POD, print-on-demand design creation automation, All American Graphics, premium pre-made graphics, which can help you with that like American flag style design, by the way, that you can mix the interests in. And Bubble Scout, the only Redbubble niche research and validation tool. So you can enter for free. Use the link in the description, guys. Also, while you're down there, of course, I have a full print-on-demand course walking you through how I make six-figure print-on-demand sales every single year. If you want to learn more, check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you made it till the end and you haven't done so already. And then go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.